The cold steel of the gun barrel pressed against my temple like a lover's whisper turned sour, and in that split second before the world exploded into white-hot nothing, I saw his face, my brother-in-law, Richard, grinning like he'd just won the goddamn lottery. Blood, my blood, splattered the pristine white walls of the family home I'd fought tooth and nail to keep, and as the light faded, his voice echoed in my skull. This house is mine now, Valentina. Always was. But death isn't the end. It's a goddamn reset button, and when I gasped awake in my old bed, sheets tangled around me like forgotten promises, the calendar on the nightstand screamed 2018, 7 years before that bullet stole my breath. I bolted upright, heart slamming against my ribs like a caged animal, the familiar creak of the queen-sized frame under me confirming it wasn't a dream. The room smelled of lavender from the diffuser my sister Elena had gifted me for my 30th birthday, back when we were still thick as thieves, before Richard slithered into our lives like a snake in the Garden of Eden. My hands, younger, unscarred by the endless boardroom battles and the divorce I'd never seen now, trembled as I touched my face, feeling the smooth skin that hadn't yet been etched with the lines of betrayal. Holy shit, I'd done it. Reborn. Trung Sin, as the old Vietnamese folktales my mom used to whisper called it. A second chance to claw back what was stolen. But second chances don't come with a manual, and mine was laced with venom. In my first life, I'd built this empire from the ground up. Valentina Reyes, the iron-fisted real estate mogul who'd turned our family's crumbling Victorian in suburban Chicago into the crown jewel of my portfolio. Dad had left it to me in his will, a rambling beast of a house on Lakeshore Drive with turrets and wraparound porches that screamed old money, even if ours was the bootstraps kind. Mom had died young, cancer eating her from the inside out, and Elena, sweet, scatterbrained Elena, had married Richard straight out of college, thinking he'd be her knight in shining armor. He was more like a Trojan horse, packed with greed and lies. It started small, the rot. Richard, with his slick Wall Street smile and Harvard MBA, had cozied up to Dad before he passed, whispering about investment opportunities that turned out to be Ponzi schemes disguised as flips. Dad, trusting fool that he was, signed over power of attorney, and by the time I caught wind, Richard had siphoned off half the family savings. I fought him in court, exposed his shady deals, but he was always one step ahead, bribing witnesses, forging docs, playing the grieving son-in-law card to the judge. Elena stood by him, blind to the monster in her bed, calling me the jealous sister who couldn't let go. And then, the night it all ended, I'd uncovered the big one. Richard wasn't just embezzling. He'd murdered Dad. A heart attack, in the garage, pills scattered like confetti, but I'd found the autopsy report buried in his files. Overdose on fentanyl-laced oxy, the kind only a connected pharma exec like him could source. He'd staged it to look like suicide, cashing in on the life insurance to cover his debts. I confronted him in this very house, the one he'd always eyed like a fat prize hog, and he didn't even deny it. Just laughed, pulled the gun from his desk drawer, the one Dad kept for protection, and pulled the trigger. Loose ends, Val, he'd said. Elena walked in too late, screaming as I hit the floor, but by then, she was complicit, her tears as fake as her diamond studs. Now here I was, 28 again, with the knowledge of a lifetime's regrets burning in my veins. The house was still mine, keys on the dresser, deed in the safe downstairs. Elena and Richard were just dating, not married yet. The wedding was 2 years out, the one where she'd worn that hideous lace gown that made her look like a doily on legs. I had time to dismantle him brick by brick, before he could sink his claws in. First things first, reconnaissance. I slipped into the kitchen, the granite counters cool under my palms as I brewed coffee, strong, black, the way that kept the demons at bay in both lives. My phone buzzed on the counter, a text from Elena. Sis, brunch at the Gauge? Richard's in town. Want to meet the guy who's got me all googly-eyed? Smiling face with hard eyes, I stared at the screen, while rising. In my first go-round, that brunch had been the hook, the day he'd charmed me with tales of family first, while plotting to bleed us dry. This time, I'd play along, but I'd arm myself first. I spent the morning in the attic, dust motes dancing in the slanted light, like tiny ghosts, rifling through Dad's old boxes. There it was, the lockbox with the originals. The will, handwritten in his shaky scrawl, leaving everything to me and Elena equally, with a codicil that barred any spouse with outstanding debts from inheritance. Richard's student loans alone were a mountain, $250K, buried in his credit report. I'd overlooked it before, too busy building my agency, Reyes Realty, into a powerhouse. Not this time. I'd weaponize every secret. By noon, I was at the gauge, the clink of silverware and murmur of hungover yuppies a familiar Chicago symphony. Elena waved from a corner booth, her blonde bob bouncing as she hugged me too tight, smelling of vanilla and desperation. Val, you look different, hotter somehow. New skincare. Just life treating me right. I lied, sliding in across from Richard. He extended a hand, his grip firm, eyes appraising me like a property listing. Prime location, but overpriced. Valentina, Elena's told me all about you. The real estate queen. Impressive. I smiled, all teeth, channeling the shark I'd become. Flattery'll get you everywhere, Richard. But let's cut the bullshit. What's a Wall Street wolf doing slumming it with us Midwestern girls? He laughed, that practiced bark, but I saw the flicker, uncertainty. Good. Over mimosas and avocado toast, I probed gently. His job at Goldman, the big merger coming up. He name-dropped clients, oblivious that I knew the merger was a front for insider trading. Elena giggled at his jokes, hanging on every word, but I filed it away, the first thread to pull. That night, alone in the house, I fired up my laptop, same ancient Dell that had crashed during the trial in Life 1. No more. I hacked into his email. Child's play with the password I'd overheard at the wedding rehearsal. Elena Forever 69. Pathetic. There they were. The emails to his bookie, the offshore accounts, the query to a shady PI about Dad's habits. He was already sniffing around, 6 years early. My fingers flew, forwarding copies to a burner account, then deleting traces. Step 1. Build the dossier. But revenge isn't a solo act, and doubt crept in like fog off the lake. What if I changed too much? What if Elena hated me for it? She'd chosen him once. Would she again? I poured a whiskey, Dad's old bottle, peaty and sharp, and stared at the family portrait over the mantel. Mom's smile, Dad's proud arm around us girls. For you, I whispered. No more loose ends. The weeks blurred into a calculated dance. I expanded Reyes Realty aggressively, flipping foreclosures in Pilsen and Logan Square, patting my war chest. Richard proposed to Elena at Christmas. Same ring, same snowy night in Millennium Park, but I was there this time, toasting with champagne laced with subtle warnings. Marriage is forever, you know, I said, locking eyes with him. No escaping the fine print. He smirked. Noted, Val. But love conquers all, right? Love, I replied, clinking glasses, is just a contract waiting to be broken. By spring, the cracks showed. Elena confided in me over wine at my office. Sleek glass walls overlooking the loop, a far cry from the cubicle hell of my youth. Richard's, distant, always on calls, hiding his phone. And the money, he says it's for investments, but our rent's late again. I nodded, feigning surprise, though my gut twisted. This was the pivot, the moment she'd doubted him before, but I'd bulldozed him last time, calling him a fraud. She'd defended him, called me bitter. Now, talk to him, El. But if it's bad, you know I've got your back. And the house, Dad's house, it's always yours too. Her eyes welled. You're the best sister. What would I do without you? Die wondering, I thought. But aloud, plenty. But let's not find out. I escalated. Anonymous tips to the SEC about his trades. Nothing concrete, just enough to trigger audits. His merger stalled, stress lines etching his perfect jaw. He cornered me at a family barbecue in the backyard, the grill smoke curling like accusations. What the hell are you doing, Valentina? Sabotaging me. I flipped burgers, calm as Lake Michigan on a still day. Me? I'm just running my business. If yours is crumbling, maybe look in the mirror. You jealous little bitch, he hissed, low enough Elena wouldn't hear from the picnic table. This family's mine to lead. Your dad's will? A joke. I'll bury you in court. I met his gaze, the grill flames reflecting in my eyes. Try it. But remember, graves have two ends. That night, alone, the weight hit. Trungsten wasn't power. It was prison, reliving the prelude to hell. I dreamed of the bullet, woke sweating, the house's creaks mocking me. Was I the villain now, twisting fate like he had? No, he was the cancer. I'd excise him clean. Summer brought heat waves and high stakes. Richard pushed for a family trust, code for funneling assets his way. Elena, wavering, asked me to co-sign. I did, but with clauses, full disclosure audits, veto power on transfers. He signed, fuming, not seeing the trap, his debts exposed under scrutiny. Then, the first big win. The PI he'd hired turned state's evidence, spooked by my shadows. Feds raided his apartment, uncovering the offshore wires. Elena called me sobbing. Val, it's over. He's gone. I drove to her, held her as she shattered. You deserve better, I murmured. Always did. But he didn't run. No, Richard was a fighter, dirty as they come. He countersued, claiming I forged the will, painted me as the gold digger's sibling. The tabloids ate it up. Real estate rivals, sisters at war over windfall. Protests outside my office, feminists calling me a backstabber, conservatives hailing Richard as the wrong provider. Controversy brewed, my agency's stocks dipped, but I thrived on it. The American dream twisted into nightmare fuel. In court, his lawyer, a sleaze named Hargrove, grilled me. Ms. Reyes, isn't it true you manipulated your sister for control? That you hate men like Mr. Hale because your own marriage failed? Objection overruled. The gallery murmured. I leaned into the mic, voice steady. My marriage didn't fail. It ended because I chose ambition over settling. As for Richard, he's not a man, he's a parasite. Gasps. Elena, in the back row, paled. Richard's smug mask cracked, just a hair. Adjournment came like a mercy kill, the judge's gavel echoing in my skull as I stepped into the muggy Chicago afternoon. Reporters swarmed the courthouse steps, mics thrusting like bayonets. Valentina, is it true you're sleeping with the judge? What about the affair rumors with Richard? Did that fuel the feud? Lies, all of it, seated by his PR machine. I pushed through, bodyguard. New hire, ex-Marine named Jax, clearing a path to my Escalade. Inside, AC blasting, I slammed the partition up and screamed, raw and primal, until my throat burned. This was the controversy I'd courted, the tightrope of public opinion that could swing the case. In life one, I'd played nice, lost quiet. Now, I'd burn it all down if it meant victory. But Elena, God, Elena. She'd testified for him that morning, voice quivering. Val's always been possessive. The house, it's just bricks to her. Lies he fed her, but they stung like salt in old wounds. I dialed her from the car, speakerphone crackling. Elle, we need to talk. For real this time. Silence, then a sniffle. I can't, Val. Not after today. You called him a parasite, in court. What if the baby? Baby? My blood froze. In the first timeline, she'd miscarried after the shooting, blaming me in her grief-fueled haze. This time, early, hidden. You're pregnant? Yeah. 6 weeks. And Richard? He's trying, Val. For us. For his legacy, more like. The heir to launder his sins. Come to the house. Tonight. Please. She hung up. I gripped the wheel, knuckles white. Twist 1. Life rewriting itself. I had to adapt. The house welcomed me like an old enemy. Porch light flickering, the turret casting shadows like accusatory fingers. Jax dropped me off, promising to circle the block. Inside, I poured bourbon neat, pacing the study where Dad had balanced books by lamplight. The codicil stared from the desk. No debts shall taint the bloodline. Richard's loans? A ticking bomb. But the pregnancy, that changed the math. Hurt her, and I'd lose Elena forever. She arrived at dusk, rain pattering the leaded windows like impatient fingers. We sat in the kitchen, herbal tea steaming between us. Hers decaf, mine spiked. Talk, she said, eyes red-rimmed but fierce. Why are you doing this? The lawsuits, the leaks, it's destroying us. I took a breath, the truth a razor on my tongue. Lie too much, and she'd bolt. Reveal the future? Certifiable. Because he's poison, Elle. I know things I can't explain yet. Remember Dad's accident? Richard was there that night, pushing those pills. Her face crumpled. That's insane. He loved Dad. Loved his wallet more. I slid over the printouts, emails, wire transfers. Look, for yourself. She scanned, color draining. This can't. Oh God. Pages fluttered to the floor, her hand flying to her belly. What do I do? Leave him. Now. Before he drags you under. She stood, wild-eyed. And the baby? Our future. I pulled her into a hug, her sobs soaking my blouse. We'll make a new one. You, me, the kid. Family sticks, blood or not. She stayed that night, curled on the guest bed like the girl who'd shared secrets under blankets. I lay awake, plotting. Richard wouldn't quit. He'd double down, play the victim card. Sure enough, by morning, his texts flooded her phone. Baby, it's a setup. Your sister's framing me. Wants the house all to herself. She deleted them, but the doubt lingered. The trial dragged into fall, leaves turning the Gold Coast into a postcard of decay. Hargrove's cross-exams grew vicious, dredging my past. The messy divorce from Mark, the ex who'd called me ball-busting Valentina, in depositions. Obsessed with control, isn't she? He sneered to the jury. 6 women, for men, all eyeing me like a shark in heels. I countered with experts, forensic accountants tracing his funnels to shell companies in the Caymans. The judge, a no-nonsense Korean-American named Park, leaned in during sidebar. Ms. Reyes, this smells like more than property. You got evidence of fraud. Mountains, Your Honor. I met her gaze. And worse. Worse being murder. But proof? Circumstantial. The pharmacy logs. The suicide note in Richard's handwriting. I'd forged a sample match last life. This time, I had the original hidden. I held it back, an ace for the endgame. Controversy peaked with the op-ed. Valentina Reyes, femme fatale or family fiend, splashed across the Tribune. Protests swelled, justice for Richard trending, his supporters waving signs outside court. Keep women in their lane. Feminists countered with Sisters United. Elena's anonymous post going viral. I was blind. Now I see. She hadn't named him, but the implication burned. Richard cornered me in the hall recess, breath hot with mint over whiskey. You think you're winning? I'll take the house, the agency, everything. And Elena? She'll crawl back when the checks stop. I straightened my blazer, channeling every boardroom battle. Dream on, Richie. But here's a freebie. Debts don't die. Neither do secrets. He laughed, but his eyes darted. To the bailiff, to Elena in the gallery. Paranoia, my old friend. That night, Twist 2 hit like a freight train. Jax called. Boss, your brother-in-law's got a tail on you. And not the fun kind. Pro-hitter, ex-cop from his firm. My blood iced. Acceleration. He was moving the timeline, gunning for me early. Double the watch. And dig deeper. Find me leverage. Leverage came at midnight. Emails from Richard to a Dr. Ellis, the doc who'd signed Dad's death cert. Bribes, $50,000 wired. Bingo. Blackmail gold. I met Elena at dawn in the turret room, rain lashing the panes. It's time. Confront him, with me. She nodded, steel in her spine. For Dad. For us. We drove to his Gold Coast condo, penthouse views mocking his fall. He opened the door in silk pajamas, reeking of scotch. Elena? Val? What the? She shoved past, me on her heels. We're done, Richard. The money, the lies, it's over. He whirled, face purpling. You stupid bitch. Brainwashed by her. He jabbed a finger at me. This is your fault, Valentina. Always meddling. I pulled the printouts, fanning them like a poker hand. Meddling? Try justice. Dad's death, your handiwork. And now, trying to hire a hit on me. Sloppy, even for you. His eyes bulged. Lies. All of it. Elena gasped, hand to mouth. Is it true? The baby. God, Richard. He lunged for the papers, but I sidestepped. Years of self-defense classes paying off. Touch me, and it's assault on top of murder 1. Sirens wailed distant. Jax's tip to CPD, anonymous but precise. Richard deflated, slumping against the marble island. You don't get it. The debts. They own me. The house was my out. Sell it. Pay up. Start clean. Clean. Elena spat. You killed for it. Not killed. Helped along. He was suffering, Val. Mercy. Bullshit. But the plea in his eyes, first crack of real fear. Part of me pitted the worm. The other? Thirsted. Cops burst in, cuffs clicking like applause. Elena turned away, retching in the sink. I held her as they dragged him out, his screams echoing. This isn't over. The house is mine. In the car, she whispered, What now? Now, I said, we rebuild. But victory tasted ash. The pregnancy, viable, but stress could end it. And the public? They'd crucify us both. I was the villain in half the headlines, the hero in the rest. American justice. Winner takes the narrative. Winter clamped down, trial resuming in a blizzard. Richard's defense crumbled. Dr. Ellis flipped, testifying to the payoffs. The jury deliberated 3 days, snow piling like unpaid sins. Verdict: fraud guilty, murder manslaughter, 30 years, no parole. Elena gave birth in spring, little Sophia, dark curls like mine, eyes like Dad's. We raised her in the house, porch swings creaking lullabies. But peace? Fleeting. One night, bottle in hand, Elena cornered me in the study. Val, how did you know? All of it. The emails, the hit. It's like you saw the future. I froze, whiskey burning. Lie or truth? Call it sister's intuition. She searched my face, then hugged tight. Whatever it is. Thank you. Twist 3 loomed unspoken. In saving her, had I damned myself? Dreams of the bullet persisted, a ghost warning. Summer returned, humid and heavy, the house blooming with wisteria Elena had planted along the trellis, purple cascades hiding the scars. Sophia toddled now, chubby fists grabbing at my slacks as I worked from the sunroom, laptop glowing with new listings. Reyes Realty had rebounded, bigger than before. The scandal birthed a podcast, Betrayed Bloodlines, topping charts, turning me into a reluctant icon. Invites poured in, TED Talks on family fortitude, op-eds in Forbes decrying toxic in-laws. Controversy cashed checks, but solitude was the price. Elena dated cautiously. A barista named Tom, steady but dull, while nights blurred into whiskey and what-ifs. The call came on a Tuesday, humidity thick as regret. Ms. Reyes? Detective Hale, no relation, thank God. We need you downtown. New evidence in your brother-in-law's case. My stomach dropped. Richard, rotting in Statesville, had appealed pro se, mailing manifestos from his cell. Valentina's the real killer. Frame me for insurance. Delusional rants, dismissed as sour grapes. But new evidence. Jax drove, silent sentinel, as skyscrapers blurred past. The precinct smelled of stale coffee and despair. Hale, a grizzled vet with a mustache like a broom bristle, sliding a file across scarred oak. Read this. Then we'll talk. Pages yellowed, typed in Richard's precise font. A confession, dated pre-arrest. I didn't kill Reyes Sr. alone. Valentina. She suggested the pills. End his suffering, she said. Overheard her on the phone. Motive? The house, full control. My vision tunneled. Forged? No. His handwriting matched the note I'd hidden. But the content. Twisted truth. In Life 1, I'd visited Dad that week, held his hand as he wheezed, morphine drip beeping. Val, he'd rasped, if it gets bad. Make it quick. Euthanasia whispers. Born of love, not murder. Richard must have eavesdropped, filed it away like a loaded gun. Hale leaned in, eyes hard. He claims you two conspired. Audio tape, grainy, but your voice. Pills, Dad. It'll be peaceful. We pulled the hospital logs. You signed out extras. Extras I'd flushed, guilt gnawing even then. Mercy killing? Gray as Chicago fog. It's not what it sounds like. Save it for the DA. He cuffed me. Cold bite on wrists, as flashbulbs popped outside. Valentina Reyes, charged with conspiracy to commit murder. The cell was concrete and fluorescent hell. Elena bailing me out at dawn, face ashen. Val, is it true? Partly. Tears hot, truth spilling. Dad begged me. I couldn't watch him suffer. Richard. He twisted it. She recoiled. You never told me. Shame, L? It ate me alive. Sophia's cries from the sitter's app broke her. We'll fight. But God. Val, what else are you hiding? Everything. The rebirth, the manipulations. As lawyers swarmed. High-priced firm on retainer. I stared at the lake from the condo we'd fled to. House impounded pending trial. Public devoured it. Val the killer trending, old allies ghosting. The podcast pivoted. Was it all a lie? Richard's appeal hearing was circus. Him in orange, grinning through plexiglass like a jackal. Told you, Judge. She's the snake. His lawyer presented the tape. My voice, tinny and broken. Pills. Peaceful. Jury 2, retired nurses, empathetic eyes, shifted uncomfortably. Mine. Euthanasia sympathizers clashed with pro-lifers outside, signs waving. Mercy or murder? I took the stand, third day, sweat beating under lights. Hargrove, back, slimy as ever, pounced. You admit suggesting the overdose, Ms. Reyes? Yes. Gasps rippled. But not to kill. To ease pain. Dad was dying. Cancer metastasized. Docs gave weeks. He felt years. And the extras? Signed out under false pretenses. Compassion. I locked on the jury. In America, we preach life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. Dad's happiness ended in agony. I gave him peace. Hargrove scoffed. Vigilante euthanasia? That's murder, plain. Not plain. Human. I turned to the judge. Your Honor, mercy isn't crime, it's courage. Deliberation stretched, media frenzy peaking. Elena testified last. Val's no killer. She's my rock. Save me from him, from myself. Richard's cross. Liar. She orchestrated it all. But the tape's context, hospital chaplain confirming Dad's pleas, tipped scales. Verdict. Charges dropped, his appeal denied. He screamed from the dock. Witch. You'll burn. Outside, rain slicked the steps, Elena hugging fierce. It's over. No. The real climax brewed at home. Reclaimed. Deed cleared. Richard's final play. A smuggled note to Elena, via his lawyer. The house is mine, baby. Hidden clause in the prenup. Your sister's forgery voids it. Sign over, or Sophia learns her aunt's a killer. She showed me, trembling. What now? Now we end it. I called Jax, drove to Statesville under cover of dusk. Visitation room. Am shackled, eyes wild. Val, come to gloat. Sign a retraction. Full confession, no more games. He laughed, chains rattling. Or what? Your life's ruined anyway. I leaned close, voice steel. This house was Dad's dream, built with immigrant sweat, brick by brick. You? A leech. But here's your out. Admit it all, or I release the real tape. His brow furrowed. What tape? The one from your phone, deleted, but cloud backups linger. You, boasting to your bookie, old man's lights out tonight. House is as good as mine. Bluff. But his face betrayed, sweat beading. You can't. I can. And will. Unless. He cracked, pen scratching retraction. Full guilt, no conspiracies. Take it. Just. Leave Elena out. Too late for that. Back home, Elena read it by firelight, tears tracing. Free. But the twist, the gut punch, hit as we burned the pages in the hearth. Sophia, on the rug, babbled Mama Val, toddling into my arms. Elena watched, soft. She loves you more, you know. Not more? Different. But in that gaze, truth. I'd saved them, but lost pieces of me. The rebirth's cost, eternal vigilance, shadows of what-ifs. Years folded. Sophia's first day at preschool, Elena's wedding to Tom in the backyard. Simple. Vows exchanged under wisteria. I stood maid of honor. No speeches, just a toast. To loose ends tied. And new beginnings. Richard died in prison. Overdose, ironic poetry. No tears. The house thrived. A B&B now. Reyes retreat. Guests raving about haunted charm. Me? I dated sporadically. A architect named Leo who saw past the armor. You're a force, Val, he'd say. But let me carry some weight. One night, porch swing creaking, Sophia asleep inside. I confessed fragments to him. Once, I lost everything. Now, I fight to keep it. He kissed my temple. And you'll win. Again. As stars wheeled over the lake, I breathed deep. No ghosts, just possibility. Trungsten wasn't curse. It was forge, hammering weakness to blade. I died on Wong, betrayed by blood and greed. Returned? To carve justice, American style, messy, controversial, unyielding. The end. No tidy bow. Elena and I argued still, over paint colors, Sophia's bedtime. But in the fights, love lingered. And the house. Ours. Forever. In the quiet, I whispered to Dad's photo. We did it. Yeah, we did.